You see, Brownbird here with another video. Before I begin, like and subscribe. Thank you. So I've been hearing a lot of talks from Valentine's Day this year. In personal opinion, I do not celebrate Valentine's Day. Now, yes, there have been people who have wished me a happy Valentine's Day, and I only responded to them in kind just because it was said to me. But I do not celebrate Valentine's Day. That I don't believe in it, and because there is an origin that comes from it that is very, very, very sad. So this is the thing. And of course, you understand by a financial sense, this is supposed to be geared towards women, and it is supposed to be geared towards men. So to those that celebrated, I hope that you guys did have a good one. To those who didn't celebrate like myself, I hope that, you continue to know the knowledge and just have an understanding on the true meaning of what Valentine's Day is. Now, moving on. Now, in this pic, this comes from Unwomen, which I guess is an organization that supports women and, helping women, just an organization that helps out women. And I found this pic funny because the descriptions that you see right here, you see a so-called black woman, you see a so-called white woman who looks to be a feminist with an Indian woman, a so-called Indian man, or a so-called black man. Maybe, it might be an Indian man. It looks more like a so-called Indian man with what would seem as a so-called white man, because it doesn't look like a so-called white woman to me. It looks like a so-called white man. And that's illustrating a so-called gay relationship. And then the last one is supposed to be an interracial relationship with an actual so-called black man with a so-called white woman. And this is subliminal programming. And the thing about it is they had to remove the pic after so many so-called black women went online and, complained about it and make their whole entire diatribes on why this was a wrong pic to put up for Valentine's Day. And, my theory is this at the end of the day. Maybe people think it's long-winded. Well, not long-winded. They might think it's disrespectful. They might think that, we're rejoicing because the so-called black woman is alone in this picture all the way to the left. She's hugging herself, AKA self-love. And this is my thing. I've talked to a good amount of so-called black women. I do believe that everybody deserves love, regardless of whatever nation you're from. The reason why I don't feel bad for a good amount of so-called black women who gives off this trait and they talk about this self-love all day is because they don't have a man. And the thing about it is that they have to be competitive against men in order to make a statement. Now, if they would sit their ass down and start realizing there are men that actually want to support them, then they could get somewhere. When they start having things like Jesus as their husband, when they start having things like college as their husband, when they start having educational system as a husband, it doesn't work, does it? And this is not a direct attack to so-called black women. It's only if the shoe fits. If it's so-called black women out there who are honest, kind, respectful, not ratchet, who actually want to get along with men in general, do not need to bash their own men to make a statement, then this video is not for you. This video was to sit up there and shed the light on so-called black women that talk all that self-love and self-protection all day, but sit up there and complain about how so-called black men do not offer anything to them. And so that they go on this notion of talking about divestment and swirling as if the so-called white man will magically sit up there and wipe you off your feet like he's Prince Charming. It doesn't mean anything to me. And I'm being honest as Brownbird. Now, again, this is only geared towards certain so-called black women. This is not geared towards all so-called black women. This is geared towards certain stereotypical so-called black women who don't seem to get it. So, of course, in the left field of this pic, you have this so-called black woman all wrapped around herself and saying self-love. You understand what I'm saying? Self-love, self-appreciation, and brothers that need to understand this in case you don't know, and this is why I probably much want to gear it towards Gen Z kids, that when a woman usually talks about self-love, it's more of a projection. It's more of just a subjugated type of conversation she's trying to have to make herself feel better. It's this idea of trying to come across as not being insecure and not trying to say that, oh, I don't need to be validated by a man. This is my thing. At the end of the day, whether a man or a woman disagrees with this statement, more specifically a woman, a man and a woman was made for each other. I don't need people to get it twisted and people to sit up there and make it seem as if it wasn't true. It is true. We can go from the biblical sense, we can go in the whole entire spiritual sense, or we can go by science. And I'm I'm talking about 90 to 95% of all species operate from a male and female species rhetoric. That when it comes to birds, since I'm Brownbird, that there are male and female birds who mate and have mating calls in order to get with each other. My favorite bird is a raven. And I know this is a random topic of conversation, but even ravens have male and female dynamics. Okay, there's a uniqueness to this all. Dogs, in order for dogs to produce other dogs in a society, they have to get with another dog and do all humpty-hump in order to produce a new breed of dogs, or pure bred dogs in general. So I love it when people try to use the arguments of how there are certain species that don't depend on the male species, or they're asexual, in order to give off the notion that there are species out there that do not need to depend on the male and female narrative or male and female aspect in order to produce or get along in a society. There's a whole entire network to that. But of course, people cherry pick and they try to look for the anomalies in these type of conversations in order to back up their statements. Let me tell you this, people, whether you're a man or woman watching this video, at the end of the day, a man and a woman was designed for each other. I don't care how you feel, and I don't care if you feel like what I'm saying is wrong. Now, in this picture, I'm not going to say anything to the likes of homosexual relationships. All I'm saying is everybody, regardless of whatever gender you are, just so I can be fair, everybody deserves a person. All that self-love nonsense y'all talking, it don't mean nothing. And I'm going to keep it at that. So otherwise than that, there's more videos coming out this week. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe. Peace.